Okay, so you've all heard the news by now, obviously. Broly's canon now. He's back. Toriyama is actually giving him a new original story that is unique from the three non-canon movies he's already been given. And I feel like before I make this video or go any further into this video, I should tell you all exactly how I feel about Broly personally. I don't think he's a bad character. I think he was actually pretty interesting, a pretty interesting villain in the first movie, especially, I would say. I like the idea of him being mind fucked in a sense by Goku's constant crying and stuff, and how it affected him, and how his power went off the scale, and Paragus had to subdue him, and basically like make him more submissive, and how uh, when we first see him, he wasn't, and suddenly he becomes this incredible force to be reckoned with. I thought it was alright. The second movie was a step in the wrong direction. It wasn't quite as interesting, nor was it worth watching. Goku was absent except for the very end, and Broly didn't say anything other than Kakarot. Bio Broly was just stupid, didn't do him any justice. And this, you know, I really wish I could save it because it's Toriyama doing the writing, because it's Toriyama this time and not Toei doing the storytelling. I wish I could say that that was good reason for me to believe that this will be good, or that this would even be better than the Broly we saw in the original Broly movies. But I can't say that. You know why? Because ever since Battle of Gods, the state of modern Dragon Ball has been taking what I consider to be a huge step in the wrong direction. Constant appealing to really just shallow fan ideas. Resurrection F, bringing back Frieza, which I thought the movie was okay at best. It wasn't anything special. And bringing back Frieza a second time. And then you have stuff like Goku Black, which was just, clearly meant to appeal to the evil Goku fans. Um, yeah, and then you have Broly already being referenced by him, a character of Kale. And plus, Dragon Ball Super just feels there's a huge difference in quality from Dragon Ball Super and Dragon Ball Z. Like, you can just tell that they just don't care as much. And of course, maybe one day I'll make a video explaining the difference between Dragon Ball Super and Dragon Ball Z and how it holds up and how it doesn't hold up. But for now, let's just say for now, watching Dragon Ball Super and comparing it to Z, I can tell that the writers, and Toriyama in particular, just do not care as much anymore. And so I don't have very high hopes for how they're going to treat Broly in this movie. I noticed there's a poster of him wearing what appears to be a sort of Saiyan armor, like he's got the Saiyan boots and stuff. And that to me, okay, so this movie is apparently going to be to center around the origins of the Saiyan race. And it'll probably involve like the Frieza Force, what's left of the Frieza Force. In fact, I think there were two new Frieza soldiers that were seen in the poster, but in the same poster I mentioned. So there's a good chance that Broly might actually be uh, one of the that this Broly might actually have played a part in Frieza's intergalactic army, much like Vegeta did, much like Nappa did. And I'm sorry, but if that is true, not saying it is true, but if that is true, and I have a feeling it might be the case, you know, I might just, that might just be the point where I'll say that where I would recommend to you to just watch the original Broly films if you want a better depiction or a better portrayal of his character. And I hate, a part of me really hates having to recommend watching the Broly movies. Well, the first one, not so much, but I don't know. Broly being part of a Frieza force and just having Saiyan armor and all that, it's just. And then there's the whole thing. Like, is Paragus going to be involved in this? Because, like I said, even though they're revitalizing, even though they're changing up Broly's story, Paragus was still a really important character in his whole in Broly's whole uh uh what do you call it? Broly's whole God, what's the word? His whole persona, I guess. Again, like I said, Broly or Paragus was the only one who could control or maintain Broly to a place of or could Paragus was the only one who could control Broly to the point where he wouldn't be going around and wrecking shit. And it wasn't until Broly met Goku that his power snapped. But here, so assuming that Broly is going to be on the same, I guess, scale of power, I guess, and I don't want to, I don't want to get into any power scaling debates, but assuming that Broly is going to be the same league of power as he is, okay, assuming Broly is going to be as freakishly powerful as he was in the original Broly films, where he had to be contained so as not to have him, like, destroy shit, who's going to be the one to contain him, if not Paragus? But again, assuming that they don't have Paragus, and who's going to be the one to contain him? Will anyone be able to contain him? Will he be this passive, submissive Saiyan? Will we see that in him? Will they choose to scale his power down a bit? Um, will he just have a somewhat more controlled personality? I mean, see, these are all things that are just going through my head, and I can't help but wonder if Toriyama is like really thinking about these things, and I don't think that he is really considering what makes Broly, in the eyes of many fans, such an iconic character. Of course, Toriyama's like, oh, Broly is so strong. That's why we love him so much. But I mean, I hope that he manages to at least stay true to the Broly of the first film, while still adding his own unique original touch. And but if what I'm seeing is any indication, that probably won't be the case. And and honestly, why Broly? Like, of all the characters that you could have made canon, why Broly? And people are like, oh, well, they don't really care about canon and Dragon Ball anymore. And I'm like, yeah, they do, at least to some degree. That's why you don't see Garlic Jr. in Super. That's why you don't see Frieza mention his brother Cooler, like, at all. He never mentions Cooler at all in Super or in Resurrection F, only his father, who was in the manga. That's why you don't see Bojack, even though Bojack Unbound does fit really well into the Dragon Ball Z canon. In fact, you know what? It would have made more sense for them to, if they wanted to make a non-canon character canon, it would have made more sense for them to put Bojack into this movie, because that film actually, I can see that happening in the 7 years before, or no, 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 excuse me, yeah, the 7 years before the Cell and the Boo arcs. That would have made sense. I mean, hell, freaking Turles would have made better sense than this. Turles. Like, you could have made him Goku Black. Like, screw Zamasu. You could have gave Turles a brand new backstory and, just completely change it so that he was a more powerful villain and make him Goku Black. He's an evil Saiyan who looks like Goku. I mean, I'm kind of going off topic, granted, but you get the idea. The fact that we're not doing this, I think, shows that they care, at least to some extent, about what's canon and what's not canon. So why bring Broly into the picture? And the answer, I think, is very simply, they're just milking the franchise at this point. And I know, I probably sound all pessimistic, like negative and all that, but I mean, that's kind of the way it is. I mean, I hate to break it to you, but why would they bring back Frieza twice? Why would they even include a character, Goku Black, who is so obviously based off the idea of evil Goku? Why would they? I mean, before even bringing Broly back, they already referenced him, and I mean, Kale was already a reference to him, so we're bringing in all these ideas, and it's clearly meant to be fan wank, and it's like, I mean, I'm trying my best to reserve all judgment until I see the movie, and I do intend to see it, because this can go, this can either go really good or really bad. Fortunately, I'm thinking really bad, but Toriyama, if you can prove me wrong, if you can make this somehow, if you can make this movie somehow, or if he can make this movie somehow uh, step its way up from where Resurrection F left off, from where Dragon Ball Super left off in terms of quality, if they can make Broly's story, his original story, completely new and yet still somehow faithful, to some degree, faithful to how he was portrayed in the movies, if they can find that balance, fantastic. You got me sold. Like I said, I'm really not putting my hopes on this. I mean, I'm really trying to think of something positive to say. I'm trying to think of something good to say about this. Um, I mean, I've already mentioned how, I think I've already mentioned that, them not, well, I mean, here's something good to say about it, is the fact that they're not bringing in Broly from the non-canon movies. Or that they're not making this the same Broly from a non-canon movies, because that just wouldn't make any sense, obviously, because those don't really fit well in the timeline. I mean, I mean, but you could argue that the first Broly movie does take place in the 10 days before the Cell games. I personally find that kind of hard to believe, but if you want to say it takes place in the 10 days before the Cell games, fuck it, I won't stop you. I'm fairly certain that this will be better than Bio Broly, though. I'm fairly certain that however this movie holds up, it will be better. It will be better than Bio Broly and probably Broly's Second Coming too. So, and maybe even the first Broly movie. It could outshine all three of the Broly films in terms of quality. But again, I must reserve all judgment until I have seen the film, which won't be until December. And then I'll post my thoughts on it, and then I'll let you all know what I think. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Broly being canon now, him having his own Toriyama given movie. Not looking forward to it, not thinking it's gonna end well. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Are you more optimistic about this than I am? Are you perhaps Were you happy about this? Were you sad? Uh, just feel free to join in that discussion in the comment section below. Uh, Comment, rate, subscribe, and all that jazz. And yeah, y'all have a nice day.